Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 2 of my video called My Best Cheapy Pickups of 2023. In this sort of two-part video, I'm trying to show you all of my best cheap pickups when it comes to fragrances throughout 2023. Now in the first part of the video I showed you fragrances from the houses of Al Haramain, Ajmal, Zimaya, and a few other Swiss Arabian, and in part 2 of this video I'm going to show you my best pickups when it comes to Lattafa, Armaf, Afnan and Maison Alhambra. There are a lot of fragrances to cover in this video, so I won't go into too much into details about each and every one of them. I'll try to be quick. And I'll start with the Lattafa fragrances. Now I've prepared a total of 7 Lattafa fragrances. The first one is called Ishq Al Shuyukh Silver, and this is part of the Lattafa Pride line of fragrances. They're high-end, part of fragrances, and this thing is pretty similar to Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky. To my nose, this is slightly fresher, slightly less sweet version of 1 Million Lucky, and a little bit more unisex. And in fact, my wife has also been enjoying this fragrance, wearing this fragrance quite a lot. This thing has very decent performance, very decent projection, has a nice quality bottle, and all in all, this is I consider this to be one of the better Lattafa pickups of 2023. I'll go through the Pride line fragrances first. The next one that I'm going to briefly talk about is called Eternal Oud, again part of the Pride line. It has this very interesting bottle design. It has this metal cap that resembles a tree, and this is Lattafa's take on the MFK Grand Soir DNA. It's super sweet. You got very sort of an ambery sweetness, sweet plum note with this fragrance as well. Another perfectly unisex scent that has great performance and projection, and is a great choice for the cold weather. Another great Lattafa pickup for me this year. The third Pride line fragrance that I'm going to show you is called Qiam Silver. This is Lattafa's take on Bvlgari's Tygar DNA, and probably this is the closest thing that I've tried, from all the clones to when it comes to Tygar clones, Bvlgari's Tygar clones. Performance is decent, projection is decent, it's a super versatile fragrance that works all year round without any problem. It's not my favorite take on the Tygar DNA, but I cannot deny the fact that this has very high quality. The next and last Pride line fragrance that I'm going to show you is called Ishq Al Shuyukh Gold, and this is probably my most favorite pickup from the Lattafa Pride line. This is a great alternative or clone of Rosendo's Mateu No. 5. Also can serve as a great alternative to YSL Baby Cat. You got that very sweet and very smoky vanilla fragrance that has a nice suede leather mixed in there as well. Fantastic performance, fantastic projection, perfectly unisex again, and I really like this one. I liked it so much that I had to pick up the original fragrance from the Rosendo Mateu as well after trying Ishq Al Shuyukh Gold. Okay, now let's quickly go through some other Lattafa fragrances that are not part of the Pride line. The next two will be from the Hayaati line of fragrances, and this is the Hayaati Gold Elixir. This is Lattafa's take on the Armani called Profumo DNA. It's not a direct clone, but done in a similar style. You get some fruits, you get some sweetness, amber and vanilla sweetness. You also get some suede leather with this one. It's a very nice mix of fruits, vanilla and leather. Unisex fragrance that leans a little bit to the masculine side, has very decent performance. I really like the bottle on this one, and I really like the whole fragrance. The other Hayaati fragrance from the Hayaati line, Lattafa Hayaati line, is the black one. Some places call this simply Hayaati, some places call it Hayaati Black. And this is done in a very similar style to something like Paco Rabanne's Invictus, also similar to Lattafa's Najdia, similar to Rasasi Hawas. You get that bubblegummy sweetness, very youthful scent, very playful scent, great for the warm months of the year. very decent performance, and in fact I really like this one. I'm yet to do a full review of this fragrance. I think I'm probably going to do it next week, but I really enjoy the original Hayaati. And the last Lattafa fragrance that I'm going to talk about in this video, going to show you, is called Al Awsaaf. This has been one of the sort of the recent Lattafa purchases for me. It's a dirty cheap fragrance that I really like a lot. It's sweet, it's woody, it's spicy, somewhat reminiscent of something like Spice Bomb Extreme, for example. I don't think this is a direct clone of anything. You can find some similarities to Black Phantom from Qiam as well. You know, all sorts of different high-end fragrances, designer and niche. This thing is a little bit softer when it comes to the projection, but has really nice staying power on skin, and it's perfectly unisex, and it's great for cold weather. Before moving on to the next fragrance house, the next Middle Eastern heavy hitter when it comes to cheap fragrances, I forgot to mention one more Lattafa that's called Raghba Oud Intense. This is a fragrance that I was chasing for quite a long time before I was finally able to get my hands on it. It's a very oriental, nice, smoky, woody, vanilla fragrance that has great performance and projection, that's dirty cheap, and it's great for winter usage. The one that I forgot to mention, the Raghba Oud Intense from Lattafa. Okay, now let's move on to the house of Armaf. Now I've prepared a total of 8 Armaf fragrances. The first one is called Armaf Legesi, and this fragrance comes in a super ugly bottle. But the fragrance inside is a very nice alternative to Chanel's Platinum Egoiste. It's not a direct clone, it's not super close scent wise, but will get you in the same vibe when it comes to the scent profile. It has a bit of an age factor to it, but it's super versatile, has great performance for its price tag, great projection, and all in all, I absolutely like or love Armaf Legesi. The next Armaf that I'm going to quickly show you is from the Odyssey line of fragrances and the newer members that were added this year to the Odyssey line of fragrances, and this one is called Odyssey Wild One Gold Edition. This thing is a very nice clone to Dior Sauvage EDT EDP. To my nose, it's a sort of a mix between the two fragrances. It's dirty cheap, has very decent performance, and I've always been a sucker for the original Sauvage DNA, and that's why I consider this to be a great pickup for me this year. The next Armaf fragrance is going to be one that people rarely talk about for some reason, but I absolutely love, and it's called Armaf Radical or Radical Brown. A super nice, sweet tobacco vanilla fragrance that has some spices, has some woods, has a sort of a cherry vibe to it, similar to something like Parfum de Marly's Herod, something like L'Homme Ideal as well, but not a direct clone of anything out there. I think it's a very cozy scent. I absolutely love this one. It has pretty decent performance, a little bit more sort of an intimate type of scent. It's not a very loud fragrance, but it's dirty cheap, and I absolutely love it. The next Armaf fragrance will be the Armaf Signature Night. Now this is one of the rare Armaf fragrances that are very hard to find, but you get a magnetic cap first of all. It's an interesting touch. Another ugly bottle that has super low quality, and the whole fragrance is very cheap, but the scent inside is a very nice alternative to something like Bvlgari Man in Black or the original Spice Bomb. It's a little bit softer compared to those two fragrances. It's not as sweet as Bvlgari Man in Black, but it has this great scent profile that I absolutely love, and this thing has a very decent performance and projection, and it's dirty cheap. The next Armaf fragrance the next 3 will be from the Club de Nuit line. The first one is Club de Nuit Untold, a fragrance that received a monstrous amount of hype at the beginning of the year when it was launched. This thing is an alternative to Baccarat Rouge 540. A very decent alternative, has very decent performance, very decent projection. When you can find a good deal after the hype died down on it, also a decent price tag. The next member of the Club de Nuit line, this one, the Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir. This is a super versatile fragrance that combines two different DNAs. You got on one hand, most of it is the original Sauvage, EDT and EDP, with some pineapple thrown in there for good measure, something like Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP mixed with Sauvage, EDT, EDP DNA. Super versatile fragrance, great performance, great projection, very nice price tag. This thing didn't receive as much hype as the other members of the new members of the Club de Nuit line of fragrances, and all in all, this is a fantastic pickup. And the last fragrance from the Club de Nuit line is Club de Nuit Iconic. I absolutely love the color combination of this dark blue color with silver accents. These things can serve as a great alternative to Bleu de Chanel EDP. You got that same bluish style of fragrance. It's not as creamy and as high quality as Bleu de Chanel EDP, of course, but this thing has far better performance than Bleu de Chanel EDP, and is also a few times cheaper compared to the original one. Super versatile fragrance with great performance. My bottle has been a great performer, and I consider this to be one of my best pickups of 2023. And the last Armaf fragrance that I'm going to talk about in this video is called Armaf Hunter Killer. This thing was released in the second half of 2023, and it's a great take on the Mancero's Red Tobacco DNA. It's not as sharp, it's a little bit sort of a sweeter and slightly less spicy compared to the original scent, but still has great performance and projection, and I absolutely love this fragrance for what it is. The only thing that I don't like is this super ugly bottle. The next 4 fragrances that I'm going to quickly show you will be from the house of Afnan, and I'll start with the Afnan Modeste 1 per Homme. This thing is a very high quality clone of Sauvage EDT, Sauvage EDP, somewhere in between. As I said, I'm a big time lover, a big sucker for the original Sauvage DNA, and that's why I absolutely love this fragrance as well. Super high quality with great performance, and a little bit more pricey, but still I think it's worth it. The next Afnan is going to be one that's called Turati Blue, a fragrance that also received a lot of hype at the end of last year and beginning of this year, and this thing is Afnan's take on the Bvlgari Tygar DNA. This thing is a little bit sweeter, a little bit more ambery compared to the original scent, a little bit more oudi, but I absolutely love it. Great performance, great projection, super versatile fragrance again because of that very versatile DNA, and I consider this to be a great pickup for this year. The next Afnan fragrance is called Supremacy Not Only Intense. Looks like this. This is a mix between the Creed Aventus DNA and Nishane Hashivat, maybe leaning a little bit to the Hashivat side. Super high quality scent. It's extremely performed, has a monstrous performance and projection, monstrous versatile factor to it as well, a monstrous complement factor. Comes very nicely packaged. The only thing that I don't like about this fragrance is the loose fit of the cap. Apart from that, it's an absolutely great fragrance. And the last Afnan fragrance that I'm going to talk about in this video is called Afnan Tribute, or Tribute Blue as it's marketed some places. This is a very unique and another super versatile fragrance. It's spicy, it's oudi, it's slightly fresh, it's ambery sweet, very unique scent profile. The only thing that comes close to this one when it comes to my experience of fragrances is Bois Imperial from Essential Parfums, but this is not a direct clone of that. It's done in a similar style. Great performance and projection, and as I said, a super high versatile factor to it, and one of my best pickups of 2023. And let's finish off this video with the 5 fragrances from the house of Maison Alhambra. I'll start with one fragrance that is not a personal favorite of mine when it comes to the scent, but I cannot exclude it from this video simply because of how good of a clone it is. The fragrance is called Victorioso Victory, and it's a clone of Paco Rabanne's Invictus Victory. It's almost identical to the original scent, and I'm not saying this lightly. It's that good of a fragrance when it comes to the scent and replicating the original scent, and also has pretty much exactly the same performances with the original. And the best thing out of all is that it's dirty cheap. Costs about $20 or something like that, and it's also super versatile, so it has to be included in this video, the Victorioso Victory from Maison Alhambra. The next two will be hyped up monsters from the beginning of the year. The first one is called the Tux, and this is a clone of YSL Tuxedo. It's a very high quality clone of Tuxedo, and at one point this received so much hype that it was out of stock pretty much everywhere, and prices were going crazy high for this. Some people were asking almost the same amount of money as you would spend for the original fragrance, super close to the original scent with very decent performance. And the next hyped up monster from Maison Alhambra is of course Kismet Angel. This thing is a clone of Kilian's Angel Share, especially in the opening, very close to the original scent. On the dry down, misses the mark a little bit, but still a very good alternative to Angel Share. Performance is alright, projection is alright, and again, because of the amount of hype, this was out of stock pretty much everywhere, and prices were going crazy high. And the last two Maison Alhambra fragrances that I'm going to show in this video. The first one is called Baroque Satin Oud, and this is a super fantastic clone of MFK's Oud Satin Mood. Super close to the original scent. Fantastic performance, fantastic projection, perfectly unisex. In fact, this is one of the hardest projecting fragrances in my collection. This thing will project non-stop for something like 3 hours, maybe even over 3 hours. And the best thing out of all is that it's very cheap. And the last Maison Alhambra fragrance in this video, and the last fragrance in this video as a whole, is called Jean Louis Ombre. This thing is a very good clone of Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomade. It's not the best clone of Ombre Nomade in my collection, but still is super decent when it comes to the scent, the quality, the closeness to the original scent. Also has very decent performance, and the best thing out of all is that it costs about a tenth of the price of the original fragrance. So if you're looking for a very decent clone of Ombre Nomade for, as I said, about a tenth of the price of the original, you can check out Jean Louis Ombre from Maison Alhambra. And so guys, in part 2 of my videos called my best cheapy pickups of 2023, I showed you a total of, I don't know exactly how many, but probably like 25 fragrances. In part 2 of this video, I showed you fragrances from the houses of Maison Alhambra, Lattafa, Armaf, and Afnan. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that I'm going to see you in my next video. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.